Hi, I'm Harriet from WealthBriefing, and we're here to celebrate the launch of a groundbreaking research report from WealthBriefing and Coutts. We're lucky to be in Coutts' iconic building on the Strand, and we're expecting a fantastic turnout from the industry tonight. We've got expert speakers from the wealth management and marketing spheres, and there'll be an opportunity for everyone to catch up with old acquaintances. It should make for a great evening. I started by speaking to the author of the report, Wendy Spires, to ask her about what the thinking was behind the report.
In the summer of last year, we started noticing that more and more wealth management firms were refocusing their efforts on branding and marketing. Previous firms that had been very low-key were coming out and spending a lot of money on various sponsorships, and other firms were responding in kind by launching global advertising campaigns. In response to that, we started to talk to people globally about what they were doing, and it seemed that there were a lot of moves being made, not only in terms of expanding their teams, but also in refocusing on new markets. The report is very, very diverse. The phrase that I always use is that it's a smorgasbord of branding and marketing strategy from across all kinds of firms in lots of different markets. It covers social media, sponsorship, events, return on investment. But I think the real selling point of it is that it's quantitative but also qualitative. So there are features, case studies, interviews with senior executives from across the board, but there's also the hard numbers of a reader survey so that you can see what wealth management professionals are really looking at today.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this event to celebrate the launch of WealthBriefing's latest management research report, this time looking at reaching out to the high net worth in conjunction with Coutts. I'm Stephen Harris, I'm the publisher of the WealthBriefing group of newswires, and it's my pleasure today to introduce you to an array of excellent speakers who can talk to you about the very important world of marketing to high net worths.
Futurescope is all about what will the world be like in 20, 30, 50 years from today, and who will be the people that will be shaping that, and how will we, Coutts, make sure that the people who will be shaping that world will be clients of the bank. And I think that is the essential thread that runs through how we are thinking about our market positioning, how we're thinking about our branding, how we think about the design that we apply. And that is a key word that I'd like to keep in mind this evening, which is that of relevance.
As you can see from the sheer length of the report, it runs to over 60,000 words. It's very ambitious in its scope, so I hope that you will find it to be a useful resource. I also hope that you will find it as interesting to read as it was to produce. Thank you.
I think it's probably never been a more important time than now to start thinking about how banks and how wealth managers can differentiate themselves. The marketplace is a very cluttered one. People are forever looking for different solutions, and the challenge for each supplier is to make sure that they can build that element of loyalty. It's very expensive in this business to acquire clients, so you definitely want to hold on to them. And I think the insights that the report provides actually help people order their thoughts. We were delighted when Steve approached us to get involved with the publication of the report. Two reasons. One, we think that the report itself has got value into that marketplace, but we also felt that the insights that the report would give us would actually help drive some of our choices. So all round really timely and something that the industry was lacking. So a good solution to a definite and existing need.
It's so important to build relationships with clients, and that's incredibly difficult to do in one-to-many mass audience situations. So I really think that small, intimate, bespoke events are absolutely a critical part of the marketing strategy for any wealth manager, and should form part of a very widely integrated plan whereby wealth managers engage with their clients at all levels and across all channels.
I think that spending money on educational events is one of the most sensible things that firms can do. Finance has become increasingly complicated, markets are increasingly volatile, and for individual investors, even well-informed ones, to keep up with the latest developments is quite a challenge. So when they get the opportunity to hear from research experts, from product experts, from their wealth managers, I think that they enjoy taking advantage of those events. I think clients find it quite difficult to ascertain why one bank is different to another bank and what distinguishes a particular wealth manager and why you would go to Bank X rather than Bank Y. I don't think that that's going to change anytime soon, but it should change because banks need to understand that if they don't brand themselves, if they don't spend the money, then the key relationship that the client has is not with the bank, but with the advisor. And since advisors have an unfortunate tendency to leave and go to other firms, then clients will often be at risk. So trying to institutionalize a relationship, trying to make sure that clients identify with the bank, the brand, and more members of the bank rather than just connecting with a single advisor seems to me to be a very important thing to do.
I think the answer has to be, between print and online, that there is a mix of both. People will have seen the Global Style Directory that we published last week and sent out to people, so we have quite a firm commitment that print is sometimes the right medium. But when we think about a project like that, we might think about just doing an online version of it next year. We don't think about doing print and online at the same time. We think about different content and different destinations. My background has always been in publishing, so I do think I have a certain loyalty to print. But ultimately, I think it's about clients experiencing different mediums as they pass on a longer journey with us. Some things I believe they will always want to receive in print, or at least be able to print themselves, and others I think they will just want to be online. They will want the quick immediacy of transacting in a certain way. The challenge for a business is making sure it provides both for the right groups of people at the right time.
The fact that the wealth management industry hasn't been up to speed as much as others in the social media area can actually be to its advantage. The trick in adopting new technology is not to get caught in the pioneer domain when all the new things are being learned and all the mistakes are being made. It's understanding when to come into the curve where the hype of social media peaks long before the reality of the quality of delivery meets that point. The organizations who actually take advantage of new innovations don't do so at the very beginning, they don't do it at the very end. They get it after the hype is over, and the hype is gradually coming out of social media. The reality is now becoming real. This is the time to get into it.
There's definitely been a shift in attitudes, and branding and marketing are now much more represented in the CEO suite. Now that started about 2003 and has progressively increased. And the reasons for it, there are probably three reasons why that's happened. The first is that there's been a change in the intergenerational shift of the clients. So with new clients, there's a need to represent the brand and get the brand message across. I think the second issue is that that clients are now much more demanding in terms of seeking value from their relationship with the private bank, and this is really because the volatility in the marketplace has led clients to question the value of the service they receive from private banks. And I think the third reason, it's also becoming a much more competitive industry now. There are not only existing players who have to get their share of voice on their message across, but also we've seen the rise of newer private banks and wealth managers, particularly from areas such as the Far East and new emerging markets, places like South America. And so the competition to get that message across and branding has become much more important. So it's quite key now in the boardroom.
We think every one of these opportunities where we meet groups of people offers us a chance to talk to them about all of the things that are happening in our business so they can begin to think about us differently. We really do believe that people spread the word fastest through whichever medium they choose. So it's about reaching new people and about them understanding the different things that we're doing.
I think it's been really successful and very important for us to be involved in this event because it helps establish in people's minds that we're not just a pure news and information service, that we're also providing people with a resource and with a level of research that makes people really engage this industry more effectively than they perhaps would have otherwise have done. In terms of what I'm seeing is that there is a real need for this industry to in some ways go right back to basics about how it presents itself and how it goes about getting and retaining clients. Brand is an extremely important part of that. Perhaps in the past it hasn't been so important because of the different nature of this industry, but now it really is. And so it couldn't have come at a better and more important time. I've enjoyed it tremendously. I mean, there's been lots of people here, there's been lots of good feedback. Lots of people want to read this report, which has taken a huge amount of effort and work to put together. So I think it's been a great success.
I've enjoyed it immensely. It's been a fantastic evening. The feedback I've had has been very positive. People came from a wide variety of backgrounds and firms, and I think they found it both educative and enjoyable. That's a good thing. I tried to touch a little on everything that's covered in the report, but not to give everything away, so hopefully people will still want to read it. But what I really want to do is foster debate, and so if anyone disagrees with any of the viewpoints in the report, then I'd like them to come back, obviously, and hopefully we can move forward and start developing some debate with all of the leading firms.
Well, it's been a great evening here. We've heard from speakers from all sectors of the industry, and it's clear everyone has had a really good time. What will be interesting now is to see the impact of the report now it's been published. We've really enjoyed making this film, and I hope you've enjoyed it, but please do give us your feedback. This is Harriet Davies for Wealth Briefing from Coutts on the Strand.